Mike Adams, Up North Journal, here today at the ATA show with our friend Paul Penix. Paul, we've talked before. You've got some new, exciting product from PSE, and you debuted 2 items here at the show this week, and this is one of them here. Talk about this crossbow and what it can do.
Mike, this is a state-of-the-art offering for crossbow development. This is something that actually is a paradigm shift in crossbow technology. That's never been done, never been attempted, and really, really cool. I will start with showing you that this is a little bit different crossbow in the fact that the owner of the crossbow will need the lower unit of an AR-15 rifle. There's a hinge down here and a pin that comes out, and the owner, there are a lot of accessories for AR-15 guns, and the owner can just take his lower unit out and marry it up to our crossbow and install the pin, and he is ready to go. And the cool thing about this is every crossbow before now, when you cock it and load it, it loads the trigger up. So the trigger pull is really, really difficult. And if an AR-15 owner has tricked out the trigger and has a half-ounce trigger pull, he will have a half-ounce trigger pull on this gun because we are using a release aid. And this release aid, when you cock it back, the mechanism here winds this 1,400-pound tensile strength cord. It cocks the gun. It has the regular safety from the rifle. And then when you activate it, when you squeeze that trigger, you have the same trigger pull you've been used to on your rifle and fired hundreds of rounds off. And you, in the right hands, we had some Marines test this out at from the Marine base in Tucson, and these boys were able to shoot one whole groups at 100 yards with this crossbow.
That's just truly amazing.
It is. For crossbow, when you're shooting a 26.25-inch projectile, and it has the elements to affect it, and it's, it's just amazing that it can be done. Like our engineers were shooting 1-inch groups at 100 yards. It utilizes a Picatinny rail, and that's just this accessory rail right here. And AR-15 owners have all kinds, just a myriad of different accessories that mount up with this. So if they want to use a bipod, they want to use a flashlight, anything they want to use, it'll marry up, and it's exactly the same specifications that they've been enjoying with their AR-15. The bow does not have a rail, so consequently the string doesn't travel down the rail. There's no friction, there's no hysteresis buildup, there's no friction for the arrow. It doesn't take any of the dynamic efficiency away from the bow, and so consequently we're enjoying 412 feet a second with a 485 grain projectile. Some guys say, well, that's I want to shoot a heavier one. Okay, let's shoot 650 and still enjoy 387 feet per second with a 26.25-inch projectile.
That's smoking.
It's just unbelievable.
And the speed with a bolt that size, that equals kinetic energy downrange.
Oh, kinetic energy is off the charts, Mike. You're looking at 160 foot-pounds of kinetic energy out of a 170-pound bow. And another feature that this possesses that no other crossbow on earth has is you back the limb bolts out, 1 turn each side until you reach 8 turns, and the bow string and cables will collapse, and it's completely field serviceable without a bow press. So a guy could have an extra string, and if this has an anti-dry fire mechanism, so if he accidentally bumps the trigger without an arrow in it, it will catch on the secondary latch, and it has to be shot off this string loop because remember, this is a release aid. This is not a trigger mechanism.
Right.
So this cord is 3 times stronger than what a guy will typically use on his compound bow, and it'll only withstand about 6 dry fires, and then it's going to get dry fired, and then it gets ugly quick. So we always advise somebody, if you've dry fired the bow, man, if you're going to hunt with it that day, go ahead and finish your hunt, but you need to really start thinking about changing that string out, or at least changing this loop. And a word of caution, don't use a regular compound bow loop because this is 4 times stronger tensile strength stuff that we're using on this. This is a nice braided nylon type of stuff, and it won't give up the way that a normal bow will. Now, there's one other drawback, Mike. We're having to use an arrow from PSE, and if our cameraman can show the arrow knock, you'll see that it's not a typical half moon or flat knock, it's a regular arrow knock.
Right.
And the reason for that is when you engage the string, watch what happens to the anti-dry fire mechanism.
Okay, it's dropping it.
It's dropping that out of the way, and I don't know if your cameraman can see that. That's some pretty tight quarters and some pretty minute detail. But when you push that forward, that little latch is depressing, and you are canceling out the anti-dry fire mechanism. If this pops off, that pops back up, and the bow can't be dry fired.
Gotcha.
Completely railless, again, and no friction buildup, and just speeds off the chart. Now, the other cool thing, one of the engineers that has worked on this project quite a bit, we have a self-contained mechanism just to hold the lever in place, the crank mechanism, and it only takes 12 pounds of force to crank this 170-pound crossbow. And this is the only crossbow in America that can be let down from full draw without shooting the bow. Typically, if you want to unload your crossbow, you just put a bolt in it with a field point, shoot it in the ground, put it up, pick it up, and not waste a broadhead. This one, you don't have to do any of that. You just let it down from full draw and pack it out of the woods, and you're going back home with it.
What I see here with this cranking, how easy it is to pull back, a youth, a female archer who wants to get out can do this with not any difficulty at all.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is with the accuracy of this. We've had customer after customer, dealer after dealer that's come by the booth and said, I would be happy to hunt firearm season with the firearm guys with this crossbow. They could take it out and practice with their AR-15, get used to that trigger pull. The sighting is all the same. The bow is about as smooth as anything that you've ever shot as far as the crossbow goes. And you know, I'm not a guru on crossbows by any stretch of imagination, and I shot this at the plant several times, and you can't shoot at the same spot twice because you start blowing arrows up. Gotcha. And even somebody that's inexperienced and doesn't have any practice with the bow, you enjoy that right off the get-go. It's uncanny. I mean, it's just really unbelievable. And it's I've told everybody I've sold crossbows, I've shot them, I've used them, played with them. You know, I want to learn about what a prod is. I want to learn what the barrel part is, the trigger mechanism, those type of things. But I've never wanted to own one like I want to own this one. Yeah. You know, and I don't own an AR-15. But I think I'm going to.
You might now.
I might now. Yeah. And just truly state of the art. $12.99 is going to be the retail price on it. And for what you're getting, we have some of our competitors' bows that are $2,000 and $3,000 and don't have half of the features and benefits that this bow possesses. So we're pretty excited. We've had a lot of great attention. Somebody, one of my archery dealers asked me how many of them do you think I'm really going to sell? And I said, well, I don't know. There's 12 million AR owners in the country, so how many do you have that shoot bows and arrows and buy bows and arrows from you that you don't know owns one of them guns and would love to have one of these crossbows? Right. And it's a great opportunity. It is a great opportunity for a disabled or an older gentleman that can enjoy rifle type of accuracy at longer distances, to get back outside and enjoy the outdoors. And that's what it's all about, is getting people outside to enjoy deer hunting, hunting in general, enjoy Mother Nature, and just give them another reason to get out and hunt.
Typically, what I'm hearing from some of the guys, I don't personally own a crossbow, but they'll talk about the noise coming off a crossbow, especially with something that's firing as fast as this and vibration. I see this has got two dampeners on this. It does,
and forgive me for being remiss in my duties, Mike. It does have two string dampeners that keep all that vibration down to a very, very minimum. This is something that we worked out through our one of our sister companies, ViberCheck. We're using them on our compound bows, and we're using a dual one on this crossbow, and it takes the noise and vibration. When you have wheels that jump that fast back to the static position, there's noise coming out of it. But when you hear all the rest of the bows lined up, even heavier poundage bows, lighter poundage bows, doesn't matter. This is by far quieter. The vibration that comes through, there's still some crossbow issues with it, but take what you normally experience and cut it in half, and then take about 2/3 off of that, and that's what you're getting. The round circles and being offset from side to side, it's a chambered riser, Mike, and it's kind of hollow. You can see my finger stuck through here. And these round circles dissipate vibration and noise much quicker and easier because there's no length for that vibration and noise to travel, like if you have like a rectangle. Mm-hmm. And so this is done on purpose by design to cancel the noise and vibration. And the riser itself, along with the dampening stops that takes the string oscillation out, are two things that have made this bow head and shoulders quieter above everything else. So, you know, the engineers have thought about this. This has been a labor of love here at PSE Engineering for about 3 years. And they finally got, they wanted to make it right, they wanted to make it strong, they wanted to make it, the gearing, the guys have learned more about gears than most engineers will ever know about gearing on something, and the structural integrity and the crank mechanism and so on and so forth. And we've went above and beyond an overkill on everything just to make sure that the durability is there. People are going to enjoy this crossbow. You know, probably when they buy this will be the last crossbow they ever need, unless we come out with something that shoots over 412 feet a second, I suppose, at some point in time. But right now there is this is the cat's meow. So you're looking at a lot better longevity and some of the coolest technology that's ever been out there. And if you're not a crossbow lover, after you get a little sample of this and get to shoot this a time or two, I think it'll change your mind and your perception about crossbows.